Travis Monroe stared at the financial reports on his desk, rubbing his temples. Profits were steady, but something didn't sit right. Complaints had been trickling in not about the products, but about how customers and employees were being treated at his family's chain of 12 fast food restaurants. Employees quitting without notice, customers saying the service was cold and unwelcoming, and one particularly troubling story about a young worker who had been struggling to pay rent, but was docked pay over a minor scheduling mix-up. Travis had inherited the company from his father, who built it from a single burger joint into a respected chain. He had worked hard to expand it, but now, sitting in his corporate office, he realized he was too far removed from the day-to-day struggles of his employees. He needed to see it for himself. He made a decision. The next day, Travis walked into one of the restaurants on the city's outskirts, dressed in a plain hoodie and jeans. He had grown out his beard over the past few weeks and wore thick-rimmed glasses. No one at this location had ever met him in person. Most employees only knew the CEO from company emails and corporate meetings they never attended. To them, he was just another new hire. "Name," the store manager, a tall man with thinning hair named Greg, asked without looking up from his clipboard. "Tyler," Travis said, using his middle name. Greg barely acknowledged him. "You'll be on register. It's easy. Don't mess up." Travis nodded and got to work. From the start, he noticed the tension. The restaurant was understaffed, with only 3 employees working the lunch rush. There was a clear leader among them, a teenage girl named Olivia Hayes. She moved quickly, taking orders, handling the drive-through, and even jumping in to cook when needed. But there was something in her eyes: exhaustion. When the rush died down, Travis finally got a chance to talk to her. "You've been here a while?" he asked, wiping down the counter. "Almost a year," Olivia said, counting the few dollars in her apron pocket before sighing heavily. "Feels like forever, though." Travis raised an eyebrow. "Tough job," she let out a dry laugh. "You could say that. I work almost every shift they'll give me, but even then, it's barely enough." "For what?" She hesitated, then glanced around before lowering her voice. "Rent. I live with my little brother, our mom. She's not around, it's just us." Travis felt a weight settle in his chest. "How old is your brother?" "Gavin, he's 10. He studied her, seeing the exhaustion in her face. She wasn't just working a job, she was surviving. Before he could say more, Greg walked by, scowling. "Olivia, I need you to stay late tonight. Someone called out." She stiffened. "I can't tonight, I have to pick up my brother." Greg scoffed. "Not my problem." "You want hours. You take what you get." Travis clenched his fists, forcing himself to stay calm. He knew he couldn't blow his cover yet, but watching Olivia struggle while Greg treated her like she was disposable made his blood boil. As the shift went on, he noticed more. The employees weren't given breaks unless they fought for them. Greg would cut hours last minute if he felt the labor costs were too high, and worst of all, he seemed to enjoy making Olivia's life harder. At the end of the shift, Travis saw Olivia counting her tips again. It wasn't much. Greg walked by and snatched a couple of dollars from her pile. "Short on the register earlier. Comes out of your tips." Olivia's face went red. "But I wasn't even the one on register when that happened." "Doesn't matter, life's unfair." Greg smirked and walked away. Travis had seen enough. He wasn't just here to observe anymore, he was here to fix this. And Greg? His days were numbered. Travis kept his expression neutral as Greg walked away with Olivia's tip money, but inside he was seething. He had expected to find inefficiencies or maybe some morale issues, but this was outright exploitation. He wasn't just witnessing bad management, he was seeing a toxic culture that was actively crushing the people who kept the restaurant running. He needed more information before acting. If Greg was this brazen, there was no telling what else was happening behind the scenes. The next day, Travis arrived early for his shift. Olivia was already there, prepping the kitchen in silence. She looked even more exhausted than before, dark circles under her eyes. "You doing okay?" Travis asked, keeping his tone casual. She glanced up, hesitating before answering. "Just tired." "You get any sleep?" Not much. My brother had a school project due today and the internet at our place got shut off last week. Had to take him to the library after work so he could finish. Travis nodded slowly, taking in the weight of what she was saying. She wasn't just tired from work, she was carrying responsibilities far beyond her years. Any response he had was cut short when Greg stomped into the kitchen, tossing a clipboard onto the counter. Health inspections tomorrow. If this place isn't spotless, it's coming out of your paychecks. Travis frowned. How does that work? Greg shot him a sharp look. You break something, you pay for it. You miss something, you get written up. Enough write-ups, you lose shifts. Pretty simple. Olivia kept her head down, scrubbing the grill harder. Travis noticed how she didn't argue, didn't push back. She was used to this. As the day progressed, he kept his eyes open, watching how the store operated under Greg's leadership. Employees rushed through their tasks, constantly looking over their shoulders. Mistakes weren't corrected, they were punished. When a younger employee accidentally burned a batch of fries, Greg didn't just scold him, he made him clock out early, cutting his hours as punishment. When a customer complained about a missing item in their order, Greg barked at the cashier, telling them they'd have to cover the cost themselves if it happened again. And when Olivia asked for a short break to make a quick call, Greg gave her a look of disbelief. You get breaks when I say you get breaks. By the time evening rolled around, Travis had seen enough. As the last rush of customers died down, Olivia leaned against the counter, rubbing her temples. This place always like this? Travis asked. She exhaled slowly. Pretty much. It used to be better, but ever since Greg took over, people either quit or just put up with it. Why do you stay? Her jaw tightened. I don't have a choice. That was all she said, but it was enough. Travis was done watching. Greg emerged from the back office, counting something in his hand. When he looked up, he frowned at Travis. What are you still doing here? Travis took a step forward, leveling his gaze. We need to talk. Greg scoffed, shaking his head. You're on the bottom rung, rookie. You don't get to demand conversations. Travis pulled off his glasses and straightened his posture. His voice, calm but firm, cut through the room. I'm Travis Monroe. The blood drained from Greg's face. The room, which had been filled with the usual sounds of closing duties, fell into dead silence. Olivia's eyes widened as she looked between them. Greg let out a short, nervous laugh. That's a good one. Travis didn't blink. You know what's not a joke? Stealing from your employees. Threatening them, cutting their hours as punishment, violating labor laws. Greg shifted uneasily. I've been here long enough to see exactly how you run this store. Travis's voice never rose, but the authority in it was unmistakable. You're done. Greg's mouth opened and closed, but no words came out. Travis turned to Olivia and the other employees. From this moment forward, things are going to change. No more stolen wages. No more intimidation. No more treating people like they're disposable. Olivia watched him carefully, as if trying to decide whether to believe him. Greg finally found his voice. You can't just, yes, I can. Travis cut him off. You're fired. Effective immediately. Greg's face twisted in anger, but he wasn't in control anymore. He stormed out, muttering under his breath, but no one stopped him. Travis turned back to Olivia. You're the hardest worker in this place. You deserve better than this. Her throat bobbed as she swallowed hard. We all do, Travis nodded. And that's exactly what's going to happen. Greg was gone. The door swung shut behind him, leaving a silence heavier than the chaos of the day. Olivia stood near the counter, arms crossed tightly, her expression unreadable. The other employees lingered, exchanging uncertain glances. Travis turned to them, sensing the unspoken question hanging in the air. Starting now, this place is going to run differently, he said, steady but firm. You all have been working under the worst kind of leadership, and I take responsibility for that. It shouldn't have taken me going undercover to see what was happening, but I see it now, and I won't ignore it. A young employee with a nervous posture hesitated before stepping forward. Does that mean we're getting a new manager? Travis nodded. Yes, but not just anyone, someone who actually respects the work you do. His eyes landed on Olivia. She blinked, stiffening slightly. Wait, what? You know this store better than anyone. You've been holding it together when no one else would. I'm offering you the assistant manager position effective immediately. Her brow furrowed, and she glanced at the others as if expecting to be the punchline of some elaborate joke. You're serious. Completely. She let out a breath, shaking her head. But I don't have experience managing people. I've never done anything like that. You've already been doing it, Travis countered. Every time you pick up the slack, every time you solve problems Greg ignored, every time you keep this place moving despite everything working against you, that's leadership. The title just makes it official. She hesitated, shifting her weight. What about my hours? I still need them, and my brother, you'll have a stable schedule, Travis assured her. No more last-minute cuts, no more unpaid hours, and you'll be paid what you're worth. Something flickered in her expression, hope maybe, but buried under layers of hesitation. I don't want this to be some temporary fix. I've seen things change for a week, maybe two, then go right back to how they were. Travis understood the doubt. One decision wasn't enough to undo months, years of mistreatment. This isn't about a quick fix. It's about making sure this company never operates like that again. I'm not just changing things here, I'm reviewing every store. What happened under Greg won't happen anywhere else. The employees exchanged looks, the weight of his words sinking in. Finally, Olivia exhaled. I'll do it. But only if you mean what you're saying. Travis extended his hand. I do. She shook it, her grip firm despite the uncertainty still lingering in her eyes. With that, the rest of the employees began to relax, conversations picking up again. The tension that had hung over the store for so long started to lift. But Travis wasn't done. He pulled out his phone and made a call. Within minutes, a regional manager arrived, a woman named Dana who had been with the company for years. She was sharp, no nonsense, and most importantly, she was someone Travis trusted. Dana's going to help with the transition, Travis explained. She'll oversee everything while we get things in place. Dana wasted no time, pulling Olivia aside and talking her through the next steps. Meanwhile, Travis turned his attention to the employees still watching him, waiting for whatever came next. Anyone who was shorted wages under Greg will be reimbursed, he said. And if any of you have concerns, things that need to change, now's the time to speak up. For the first time since he arrived, people actually looked hopeful. One by one, they began voicing concerns: short staffing, broken equipment that had been ignored, unfair scheduling practices. Travis took in every word, making notes. By the time the conversation wrapped up, there was something in the air that hadn't been there before: relief. As the employees returned to their closing duties, Olivia approached him again, arms still crossed but her expression softer. You didn't have to step in like this, she said. Most people at the top wouldn't have cared. Travis met her gaze. They should, and from now on I will. For the first time since he met her, she smiled. Not big, not flashy, just a small, tired but real smile, and that was enough. Travis leaned against the counter as the last employees finished their closing tasks. The atmosphere of the restaurant had shifted, tension had loosened, though uncertainty still lingered. Change had begun, but trust wouldn't be rebuilt overnight. Dana stood near the back, reviewing the store's records. She had already identified multiple wage violations, scheduling inconsistencies, and maintenance issues that had been ignored. Olivia remained by the register, quietly observing everything, as if unsure whether to believe it was real. Travis turned to her. Starting tomorrow, you'll go through proper management training. I don't expect you to know everything right away, but I want you to have the tools to do this job right. She hesitated, then nodded. What about the others? The ones who had their pay cut or lost shifts for no reason. They'll be taken care of. Every employee affected will get what they're owed, he said. And we'll be reviewing all the locations to make sure this wasn't happening elsewhere. She ran a hand through her hair, exhaling. I don't get why you're doing this. Most people in your position wouldn't care. Travis met her gaze. Because I built this company with my father, it was never supposed to be like this. Somewhere along the way, I lost sight of what was happening on the ground. That's on me. She studied him for a moment before responding. So what happens now? Now we make sure this never happens again. Dana stepped forward, setting down her clipboard. We're also restructuring how management is chosen. No more hiring people who only care about cutting costs. We need leaders, not enforcers, Travis nodded. And that means promoting from within when possible, people who actually know the job, who care about the people working beside them. Olivia looked down, processing everything. I want to do this right. But I don't want to be like Greg. You won't be, Travis assured her, because you actually care about the people here. That's what makes the difference. She nodded slowly, her fingers tapping against the counter. I guess I should start figuring out how to do schedules properly then. Dana smiled slightly. We'll train you on that, but first you should go home. You've done enough for today. Olivia hesitated, then nodded. All right, but I'll be back early. Travis watched as she grabbed her bag and headed for the door. She paused before stepping outside, glancing back at the restaurant as if seeing it in a new light. Then she left. Dana turned to Travis. You really meant it when you said you were going to fix this, didn't you? Every word, he said. This isn't just about one store. It's about making sure this company reflects what it was always supposed to be. She nodded. It's going to take time, but if we do it right, it'll stick, Travis exhaled. Then we better get started. Over the next few weeks, major changes swept through the company. Every store underwent a full audit, and multiple managers were removed for similar behavior to Greg's. Employee complaints were taken seriously for the first time in years. Olivia adjusted to her new role quickly, proving that Travis had made the right decision. She wasn't just keeping the store running, she was making it better. Employees who had once dreaded their shifts now had a reason to stay. One afternoon, Travis returned to the restaurant, this time without the disguise. Olivia was behind the counter, training a new hire. She looked up and spotted him, giving a small nod before turning back to her task. The tired, defeated expression she once carried had faded. As he stepped inside, he overheard her giving instructions to her team. Her voice was steady, confident. Travis smiled. Change had begun. And this time, it was real. Travis stepped out of his car and into the parking lot of the restaurant. It had been 3 weeks since Greg was fired, and he had intentionally given Olivia time to settle into her new role before checking in. Now, he wanted to see if the changes were holding. Inside, the atmosphere was noticeably different. The tension that had once hung over the place was gone. Employees moved quickly, but without the nervous urgency he had seen before. Conversations were happening between shifts, not in hushed voices but with a natural ease. Behind the counter, Olivia was training a new hire, a young man who looked barely old enough to be working. She was walking him through the register system, her tone patient but firm. Travis approached the counter, waiting for Olivia to notice him. When she did, she gave a quick nod of acknowledgement before finishing her instructions. The new hire listened intently, nodding along as she explained how to handle different payment methods. When she finally turned to Travis, she wiped her hands on her apron. I figured you'd be stopping by soon, she said. How's it been? Travis asked. Better, she admitted. We're still short on staff, but at least people aren't quitting without notice anymore. It's manageable. He glanced around, noting the efficiency in how things were running. And you? How's the transition been? She exhaled. Not as bad as I thought. Dana's been a huge help. I still don't know everything, but I'm figuring it out. Travis nodded. You're not supposed to know everything right away. What matters is that you're handling things the right way. She hesitated, then crossed her arms. You actually meant it when you said things would change. I was waiting for everything to go back to how it was, but it hasn't. I meant every word, Travis said. She looked at him for a long moment before finally speaking again. Can I ask you something? Of course. Why did you do all this? Her voice wasn't accusing, just genuinely curious. People like Greg get away with this stuff all the time. Most owners don't step in like you did. Travis considered his words carefully. My father built this company from the ground up, he said. When I took over, I got caught up in expansion, numbers, strategy. I thought I was doing the right thing by focusing on growth, but I stopped paying attention to the people keeping everything running. That was a mistake. Olivia listened intently. I didn't want this company to be just another job people hated coming to, he continued. It was supposed to be a place where people worked hard, got treated fairly, and maybe even had a chance to move up. When I saw what was happening here, I realized I had let that vision slip. She nodded slowly. Well, whatever the reason, I'm glad you stepped in. Travis glanced toward the back of the store. How's the team handling everything? They're still adjusting. Some of them keep expecting me to turn into another Greg, she admitted. But I think they're starting to believe this is real. That's what matters, Travis said. She glanced at the clock. I should get back to work. Lunch rush is coming up. I won't keep you, he said. But I'll be checking in again soon. She gave him a small nod before turning back to her team. Travis watched for a few moments longer before stepping outside. The changes were real, but they were only the beginning. There was still more to do, more stores to fix, more people to support. But for now, he knew that this restaurant, at least, was finally on the right track.